Recently, I got a massage and I was thinking of a number theory problem. I was thinking of my next steps to try and solve it, or I was imagining some contours. And so while I was with my mind in the math world, I was so comfortable for the massage. It was warm. The person massaging was tweaking my muscles, or however you call it. And eventually, I sort of woke up from my slumber, from my math slumber, imagining these contours. And I realized that 4 or 5 minutes have gone by and I did not remember what was really going on the outside. I didn't really feel my body in this sense, if you know what I mean. It was sort of a pure mind experience. I could only remember, hey, in the last 4 minutes I was thinking about this problem, and not what was actually going on with my body. Even if there was physical contact from another person, it was very nice, and maybe the fact that it was so nice was soothing me into this unconscious state. And I recall that recently I had a similar experience. And this is where I talk about books. In general, I have a very clear taste. There's a leveling of which sort of books are nicer, like hardcovers of color, which size, which format. I go left and right here because I don't want to run into people, record people face on. But it's like a video game where I have to choose the street where there's not so much going on. And so I have a clear type, and there is certainly a physical book that I like more than the others, and I like them more than really just reading on a computer. At least, that's sort of what I thought. Speaking of which, that's interesting. There's a fat book here. Oh, that's actually nice. And I don't want to for it to get in the rain, so I will just take this with me here. But let me just see if this is not associated with this store here. No, this is a toy store. I think it's left over here. So I'm saving the book. This is not the kind of format I like. I mean, this is not really handy to read. It's huge. And so I like physical books, but I recently had this experience. I was at home. It was gone dark at 5 in the afternoon. It's already going dark, and it was something about regression. I was imagining some Euclidean space and these planes and all these kind of things. It went dark, my room was dark, I didn't turn on the light. I was just staring at the screen. I was lying in my bed, as I'm often doing when I'm reading. It's probably not great for the neck because I'm basically lying and reading, but I don't feel the pains yet. And then at one point I realized, wow, 1.5 hours went by. I was reading, I was thinking, I was trying to understand, I was productive. And I realized that if you are actually just reading a PDF, as opposed to reading a book, as opposed to having this book in your hand and going from one side to the next, sitting in a couch, there is you see your feet in the couch is more physical. When you actually just sit in the dark, just staring at the screen, there's just a PDF. Maybe you scroll a little bit, but basically what you're really seeing is the math in your mind's eye. The classic visuals that I assume most people have. I've done a little bit of linear algebra, and I woke up from this slumber again. This kind of a similar experience. And the thing about this is, time went by. I did something productive, so I didn't have like a bad conscience about it, and it was like a good experience. And then I was thinking, you know, there's a lot of talk about, but I will stay actually here where it's not too loud, that I don't want, there's a big street, I don't want to like destroy the audio of this video completely, and maybe I get it done in a short while. So there's a lot of talk about having some eye contact with the Zoomers here. A lot of talk about, like, you know, doom scrolling and this kind of thing, and there's like a similarity to that. I realized, right? You're staring at the screen. The time goes by. We don't, however, you know, judge the doom scrolling as anything positive. We say, you know, you don't get anything out of it. It even has like a negative psychological perspective, supposedly, probably, but it's a little bit like, it's interesting. There is, like, in my experience, like, you in the massage situation where you are like sort of in a mathematical world, or if you're just like on the screen learning, there's something ego death-ish about it, right? Because you are completely trying to go through this math stuff, and you are forgetting your body completely, and even some other problems you might have. And this also ties in. I will have like an interview on in a few days, where some guy gives me his take on what he calls gooner accelerationism. Right? It's about gooning. There was like a popular article in the New Yorker where they also talk about this sort of modern phenomenon of reaching a sort of trance state, and it also has to do with the eye. There's a lot of talk about panpsychism at the moment in the philosophy realm. So this is all kind of coming together, and I'm trying to isolate what is actually the sort of good part of this doom scrolling like experience, right? So there is then an aspect to it which is particular to both of these. That is not just, you know, there is this saying that, you know, feeling yourself is a good thing, but I don't even know if I agree to this fully anymore. Like there's this funny saying in Austria, in a particular like Viennese dialect, where you say der fühlt sich nicht, or, you know, he's not feeling himself, like very attributing a very negative connotation to not actually feeling your body, your physicality. But I actually, when I wake up from this slumber experience where I just do some math in my head and I'm completely gone, it's just my only the thinking is going on, and I wake up from that and I realize, whoa, time went by. I find this a really like pleasurable experience, right? So yeah, this is my thoughts for tonight. I assume some of you might be you know, have an amicable association with this sort of thing that I'm describing, and I think this conversation is not over. Take care.